up, y'all? Quan from Truth Out of Context. Excuse the do-rag. This wasn't planned at all, but you know how things go. But we back with another banger, and I got my brother. Let him know who you are.
Shisui Sensei.
All right, and if you probably didn't see our last banger, overdose of complex anime villains, you probably don't know this one coming, but this one right here is legendary. How to create a GOAT anime protagonist, the hero, the main character, the one who's here to save everybody from everything that's going on. Now, we have some decent protagonists, but if you really want yours to stand out, here's a few tips. Now, let's start with the most obvious one. Someone people find it easy to root for. Like, take a look at somebody like Trunks. This is a guy whose life has been dipped in tragedy ever since the androids destroyed his home to Goku Black and Zamasu. This is a guy who literally had to rely on his own strength just to actually save people and get by. So if you can't root for him, I don't know what's wrong with you. But I'm assuming it's Shisui. What else you got to say about this?
So yeah, there's to be a really good protagonist in any anime, which is not always needed for an anime to be successful, but it's a driving factor for a lot of animes.
Right.
And there's like some obvious choices like Trunks, Naruto, Luffy. Those people that you just root for them. You know, no matter if they're your favorite character or not. Usually, it's very easy to root for them because of like their backstory, what their goal is, they're fighting for good, whatever it may be. Just makes it really easy to root for them, and it gives you another reason to watch the show. You know, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then, like, I want to dive into like a few other examples because, like, another big example is Naruto, especially when after Jiraiya died and he went to that depression, and then when Pain had destroyed the Leaf Village. So it was this kid who was always rejected and stuff like that. But once people seeing how much he cared and actually respected where he came from, that actually made people want to see him win even more. And then we got to go into Luffy, obviously. Just like you said, when him fighting hard to rescue his brother Ace, he wasn't necessarily the smartest character, but everybody loved him because of his heart and his never say die kind of attitude. So I can obviously respect that, even if he wasn't the most intelligent leader all the time. And it made people easy to root for him. So.
True. You just have to root for him, even if Luffy's not my favorite character, but I found myself rooting for him. I got a lot of respect for the character, as well as charisma. You just have to have a lot of charisma,
right?
As a main character, as to be like a GOAT main character, like Naruto, Goku, Luffy. They all just have so much charisma. Not saying they all have to be like loud and obnoxious, but I feel like they all have a really good mixture of just charisma that, like, it can also be like Vegeta. Like, Vegeta has so much pride.
Yeah.
Like, he's not necessarily loud or annoying. He just has a lot of pride. Like, it's just that personality that just really makes some of these characters interesting. So I guess charisma, personality, kind of the same thing, what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah,
basically, so easy to root for them. They're really charismatic. So, like, they're just always upbeat, maybe. They're just, when other people on the show are, like, down or don't think something can happen, they always believe they can get somewhere or achieve a goal or they can beat whoever. They always feel like they can do something or reach a goal, even when other people in the show say they can't, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And then, just to add to a little bit more what you were saying about Vegeta, it's like, when it comes to, like, charisma or relatability, we actually take and look at the consideration of what like something that you may actually want to adopt from some of these characters. Like, even when Vegeta was on the brink of getting a crap beat out of him, he always had that never say die attitude. All those speeches he would give up, like, I'm the Saiyan Prince Vegeta, that actually made people like him and want to adopt that. But let's take a look at somebody like Deku, for instance. People will probably try to look at him and try to say that he has no charisma or personality, but if you actually take a look into some relatability. Look at how he became like the guy who he was. He went from this shy, timid little kid to this guy who's, once he got all for one, or no, one for all, my fault, he actually started to become brave, inspiring. He started to go after his goals, and he started to inspire others to get better. So some kids who probably came from that route can actually relate to that. So when people gotta think about what about personality, it's not necessarily the quote unquote always the coolest type of character in a sense, but someone you can actually look at and be like, that I can actually relate to that because I've been through that myself.
Everybody has like not everybody's on top of the world and in on our little planet, so
Right.
it's really easy to relate even in small situations to somebody like Deku or Gon or Goku. Not even I wouldn't even use Goku in this situation, but in Naruto, like Naruto, he didn't have any friends growing up, and people hated him. You might not, people might not have hated you, but you might not have had that many friends growing up,
Right.
and you struggle coping with that. You look at Naruto, you saw how he coped with it. You see where he is now, and you can relate to that. It may not be a mirror, you know, it might not be an exact match between your situations, but you can relate, and it makes it really easy to relate through their struggles. And it can show you how certain like hard stuff that you may experience that they go through. Of course, you might not go through something as hard as Naruto, where literally his life was on the line 24/7. He was
Right.
getting attacked as a kid, you know. Yeah, grown men throwing shurikens at him and stuff like that.
Right.
But how you can come from situations like that, and your situation may be like nobody's sitting with you at the lunch table, or people throwing pencils at you or something, you know.
Right.
How you can come from that and like grow and become something and become and not hate those people, you know, and become something they can admire, become something that they want to be, and someone that they can look up to, you know.
Yep, you're right. And then speaking of that, when you mentioned that, I actually dived into another third quality of it. Somebody you can actually sympathize or empathize with. Like, since you mentioned Gon, I actually wanted to dive in that first because when he found Pito after Pito was trying to heal their friend or whatnot, and Gon just had all this anger and helplessness towards this person who killed their friend, but Pito wasn't giving them that outlet that Gon thought that they would. Pito wanted sympathy and was saying that, you know, I'm begging you, please just let me heal my friend. So I could have actually related to that because once you saw all that anger in his face and just wanted to take out everything, but it had nothing, or he had nothing to take it out on, that actually made you empathize with that in a sense because when you actually faced with a monster, and I saw this quote said, in that show, the animals became human and the humans became animals. But in a sense, I understand what he was saying. So you can't necessarily fault him for feeling the way he did or not empathize with him because of the situation got reversed. Like, you do something to somebody and you don't expect another person to do it back simply because of their good-hearted nature.
And then it goes back to Naruto. Like, easy to sympathize, even if you don't relate to his situation. Like, maybe you had friends. Like, it was really easy, like, to feel sad for that man. You know, like,
Right.
it was so sad. Like, this man was so little, walking around the village. Nobody liked him. He had no play in them not liking him. It was not his fault at all. Had Kurama inside of him or anything like that. And
Right.
it was just really sad though he had no friends. And no kid should have to go through that. And it just like maybe like it's so easy to relate and feel sympathy for that man. Like if you're a mother, you don't wouldn't want your kid going through that. If you're a kid, you wouldn't want to go through that. Or if you're in school and you wouldn't want to feel like, or not even in school. If you're a kid, you wouldn't want to feel like that in general. Like just be left out when people hate you just for no reason.
Right.
And you not even know your parents, you know, or even if you don't like, if you have parents, you're going to like you to it. But not necessarily relate or sympathize. Like, how would I like? Okay, let me slow down. So
Mm-hmm.
my parents, I love my parents a lot. I couldn't imagine like not knowing them at all, you
Right.
know. And it's
Me.
just that's a big thing. Easy to relate to, easy to feel sorry for them, and then it's inspiring. It's really heartwarming because Naruto meant a lot to me as a show. And then at the end of the show, like to see where he is now and like where he's become and where he came from, really, it was really heartwarming for me.
Def- Definitely, I agree with actually everything you said. And another thing another character you can actually incorporate with that in a sense is Aaron from Attack on Titan. Because if you looked at him, he's another character whose life was just dipped in crap from the jump. Because people don't even recognize that his own father injected him with that Titan serum. He had to watch his mother be killed. And then just to find out when he joined the Survey Corps that his two best friends that were working with him side by side were the ones who actually were responsible for that worst day of his life. So I could feel all that anger and sadness raging through him, and that's one thing that I never understood because because even when he started fighting Reiner, everyone was saying that he was acting like a brat in a sense. But I'm like, if you haven't been through nothing similar to what this guy did, you find out your best friends, in a sense, or your soldier comrades, were the reason that your whole life got flipped upside down. I mean, how the hell would you react? So you can't just say he's whining or complaining about nothing.
Yeah, which I do feel like is really easy. Like a lot of animes have characters that just whine all the time. Like Asta, I feel like he don't whine all the time, but he just not Asta, but like not whine all the time, but it's just like really annoying characters. I feel like
Right.
Asta is a really annoying character, and I want to like him. I do, but he's just really annoying. I would say he's even worse than Naruto when he was younger, and I really disliked Naruto when he was younger. I really disliked his attitude and how he was just so. But I feel like Asta's a lot worse, and I'm like, okay, some people I like in the show, I'm gonna get through it like I did with Naruto. I didn't really like Naruto. I liked Sasuke. I liked Kakashi. I liked Itachi. They're really nice characters to me. They're really cool. But I can relate to Naruto. I could when he was younger, and that I did sympathize for him. But when it comes to like Black Clover, it's a couple characters I like, but Asta is just of it, and he's just so annoying to where it makes it hard for me to watch sometimes. I will see the show through. I'm gonna watch the end of it, but it makes it really hard. I won't get too much into it because I'm gonna get off topic. That's like a
Right.
whole nother video on its own, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
My feelings about Asta.
Oh yeah. It definitely is. We got to shoot that one too.
To be
And
honest, I got a lot of like stuff to say about Black Clover.
man,
And also protagonists, we can understand why they fight.
right.
Whatever their battle may be, we understand why they do what they do, and that's also essential. Naruto, he fights because he wants to be Hokage. He wants to protect everybody because he wants to be Hokage. He wants to be respectable. Sasuke, he fought Itachi because Itachi killed his parents. Very easy to understand. It doesn't have to be very overly complicated. It can be very simple. You kill my parents, okay, I want to kill you. Simple
Right.
as that. But we understand it. We can relate to that. It makes sense. Whereas a character, maybe in not some so serious animes, protagonists can like just be fighting over something simple like food or something like that.
Right.
We understand why they do what they do and the hardships that they went through, and we understand why they feel this type of way. Like Trunks, his world got destroyed. We understood the hatred he had for Zamasu and Goku Black. He killed, he destroyed his world. He was responsible for killing everybody he loved. So,
Hmm.
makes sense.
I'm glad you said that too, because another one we can actually talk about, with like another simple plot is Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. he came home to seeing his whole family, except his sister Nezuko, who got slaughtered by demons, and his sister got turned into a demon. So now he has to fight in order to restore his sister back to the way she was before. And then as we dive in, those four bullet points, someone people find easy to root for: charisma, relatability, empathy, sympathy, and you can understand why they fight. I'm gonna actually name off one of my candidates. One of the perfect candidates for this is Izuku Midoriya or Deku, because even when you look at him, this is, like we said, this is a guy who just wanted to be a hero, but when he found out he had no powers, it almost crushed his dream. But then when he got One for All from All Might, he literally dedicated himself, his time, his mind, his body, to literally doing whatever he can to prove himself to be a hero. Even though people, like, when he saved Koda from Muscular, he broke himself over and over again just to save that kid. But
it was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was. That was one of my favorite moments. And then they literally almost told him that if you don't be careful, that you may not be able to use your arms again. But he looked at it and said that it was worth it just to protect that kid. And that kid has actually gained a huge amount of respect for him, especially on his view on heroes to begin with.
True.
Who's another candidate you got?
Well, we got another obvious one. We got Naruto, got Luffy. They meet all this criteria. Easy to root for. We know why they fight. We know their goals. We know their aspiration. I'm gonna just combo them in Naruto and Luffy.
Right.
We know what they want to become. We know, like, they're very charismatic. They can be goofy at times, but very, it's very easy to admire them. You know, like, they have a strong work ethic, and then when they get serious, they're serious, you know?
Right.
And then, like, they don't play about their friends. Like, when their friend's in danger, like, you know, they get serious. And that really shows, like, the side of them that's just really respectable. And when we do get those, like, glimpses of when they get serious, it just adds to, you know, the perfection of the character. Like, Sasuke, he was always serious. So it's nothing new. But when Naruto got, like, serious, like, he was, like, a change in the atmosphere, like, wow, he's just really cool at this point. Like, Naruto wasn't cool all the time. Sasuke, he was, like, cool. Kakashi, cool. Naruto was really goofy. Sakura used to beat him up all the time.
Man.
But when Naruto got serious, it was a rare moment, and, like, you just had to root for him, and you just felt something. Like, and when he won those fights, like, you just felt something. Like, against Pain, when he got really serious, like, it was just a whole different atmosphere. And, like, situation like that just and same thing with Luffy. Like, back in, like, Arlong Park, oh my god, like,
man.
My man's one man's not he put a straw hat on Nami. That shit was crazy. Man. It was that was a big moment because, like, you know, he don't trust somebody who had. Then he put it on Nami. He got really serious and went to go beat Arlong up. That was it's one of those moments that just makes your protagonist great, you know. Definitely.
And then another two moments, since you mentioned Naruto and Luffy. Like, when I first started watching the first part of Naruto, like, when Sasuke and Naruto started to fight Haku and Zabuza, and I believe they were in the ice mirrors, and he thought Sasuke was dead. And he started to trigger that Nine Tails, like, probably for the first time I've seen it. And he just looked up and told Haku, "I'm gonna kill you." Like, that shit actually gave me chills, bro. Or even when Luffy declared war on the world government because he wanted, who was it? Nico Robin back. And just to see the guy who everybody called stupid, who everyone said had really no brains in his head, just to see everybody united under him and stand by him in that kind of moment made me respect him as a protagonist, because I know a lot of people probably don't see themselves being under Luffy at all because of his smarts. But in terms of a guy I would want by my side when I'm going to war, Luffy would definitely be that guy. And I'll say Naruto too.
It's just those rare moments. It's just the build up to those moments. It's like you're like a really carefree character is be chilling. Naruto, Luffy just be chilling, you know, like joking all the time. But then, like in those moments, those rare moments that we get to see them do that, it just, you know, it reminds of how respectable they are. You know, it's just really like it's just the gray areas in between where they're just, you know, if you just looked at the show and just first time viewing it and you see how goofy they are, you'd be like, well, this is a goofy character, you know, whatever. And then when you actually see them get serious, I feel like the first time when you see them get serious is like when you first get the realization of like yo, this is like a character to take serious, you know, if that makes sense.
Definitely. Oh yeah, one more protagonist, like one of my final protagonists that I actually wanted to mention that I forgot is a lot of people probably haven't seen this show. This show is pretty much slept on, but if you haven't seen Assassination Classroom, go watch that because it's worth it. Koro Sensei was first painted as the villain in a sense because they looked at him as this alien to who's gonna destroy the moon and destroy the earth and all this other stuff. But then once you actually got into the backstory of how he became who he was and all the things that he was doing for the kids in his classroom, how he pretty much cared for them and went the extra mile for all those kids when nobody gave a damn about him. And then once you got to the end and you saw the realization of what was going to happen to him, it actually it makes you sympathize with him. Because I'll tell you this, like that final episode, I don't think I can watch that again, bro. It choked me up. Like that bad once I realized what was going to happen. But overall, like my final thoughts as far as these protagonists are, obviously reviewing the 4 bullet points. Someone people find it easy to root for, charisma or relatability, someone you can empathize or sympathize with, and you can understand why they fight or why they do what they do. Now, when it comes to all these characters and stuff like that, of course, you probably might have to go the extra above. Don't make your characters exactly the same as somebody else's. But I believe if your protagonist has these 4 qualities, then you could create a legendary anime protagonist. I want to thank everybody who watched. I thank my brother Shisui for joining me for this great discussion. But we really want to know what y'all think. Comment down below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out Shisui Sensei's channel. Until next time, stay strong and don't take what we say out of context. Peace and love.